The Atlantic Ocean is a graveyard of secrets. Here, off the coast of Cape Town, lies Robben Island, a fortress of limestone and silence. In 1964, it became the tomb for a man the world was supposed to forget. But silence, as the masters of apartheid would soon learn, has its own language. Nelson Mandela arrived not as a prisoner, but as a ghost. The apartheid regime intended for cell 46664 to be the end of his story. They stripped him of his name, his clothes, and his dignity. They gave him a number, but they could not strip him of his mind.
7 feet by 7 feet. This was his world, a concrete box designed to crush the spirit. For 23 hours a day, the only sound was the rhythm of his own breathing. It was here, in the suffocating stillness, that the mastermind began to plot the most dangerous weapon of all: communication.
The labor was meant to break their bodies. In the lime quarry, the glare of the sun on the white stone was blinding, permanently damaging their eyes. Conversation was strictly forbidden. A single word could lead to solitary confinement. Yet, under the watchful eyes of the towers, a secret network was being born. They developed a silent language, a nod, a cough, a specific way of holding a shovel. Every gesture was a syllable. Every glance was a sentence. They were building a shadow government right under the noses of their captors. Paper was gold. A scrap of a cement bag, a piece of toilet paper, these were the canvases for freedom. Mandela orchestrated a system where messages were hidden in the most unlikely places: the heels of shoes, the hems of jackets, and even inside loaves of bread. The messages were coded. A letter about a sick ant was actually a report on the international anti-apartheid movement. Mandela was the central hub, the mastermind who decoded the world for his fellow inmates, keeping the flame of resistance flickering in the dark. They called it the University of Robben Island. Mandela insisted that every prisoner become a teacher. They taught each other history, politics, and philosophy. The mastermind knew that an educated prisoner was a threat that no wall could contain.
Mandela's greatest trick was his humanity. He began to study his captors. He learned their language, Afrikaans. He learned their history. He didn't see them as monsters, but as victims of the same system. Slowly, the guards began to listen.
The first crack in the wall appeared when a guard smuggled in a newspaper. For the first time in years, Mandela saw the world outside. He saw the protests, the boycotts, and the face of his wife, Winnie. The mastermind realized the world had not forgotten him. Hidden beneath the floorboards of the cells was a secret archive. These were the records of their struggle, the drafts of their future constitution. Mandela was not just surviving, he was governing from a cage. When conditions became unbearable, Mandela led the ultimate protest, the hunger strike. It was a battle of wills. The mastermind knew that if they died, the regime would face a global uprising. He used his own life as a bargaining chip. 1976. The news of the Soweto uprising reached the island. Children were being shot in the streets. The mastermind felt the pain of a father, but the resolve of a leader. The secret language now carried the weight of a revolution. In the mid-70s, Mandela began his most ambitious project, his autobiography. Thousands of pages, written in secret, detailing the long walk to freedom.
It was a message to the future, a testament that the mastermind was still very much alive. To protect the manuscript, they buried it in the garden. They hoped the soil would keep their secrets until the day they could be unearthed. But the authorities were always watching, waiting for a single mistake. The manuscript was discovered. The guards thought they had destroyed his legacy. Mandela was punished with weeks of solitary confinement, but the mastermind had a backup plan. Portions of the text had already been smuggled out by released prisoners. Outside the walls, the secret language had become a global roar. Mandela's name was on the lips of millions. He had become a symbol, a myth, a mastermind of a movement that was now unstoppable. In 1982, the regime moved him. They thought that by taking him off the island, they could isolate him further. They moved him to Pollsmoor prison on the mainland. Little did they know, they were bringing the mastermind closer to the heart of power.
Pollsmoor was different. The isolation was gone, replaced by a new kind of surveillance. But Mandela used the change to his advantage. He began to demand meetings with the highest levels of the government.
The mastermind began to negotiate. In secret, without the knowledge of his own party, Mandela met with the Minister of Justice. He wasn't asking for his freedom. He was demanding the freedom of his people. The secret language was now the language of diplomacy.
In 1988, Mandela contracted tuberculosis. The regime panicked. If he died in their custody, the country would burn. The mastermind's health became a matter of national security.
He was moved to a private house at Victor Verster Prison. It was a gilded cage. Here, the mastermind hosted secret meetings with both his allies and his enemies. The secret language was now being used to draft the future of South Africa.
He was the conductor of an orchestra he couldn't see. From this house, he managed the tensions of a nation on the brink of civil war. He convinced his captors that peace was the only way forward. The mastermind was winning.
February 2, 1990. The world stopped. President F.W. de Klerk announced the unbanning of the ANC and the unconditional release of Nelson Mandela. The secret language was about to go public. February 11, 1990. The day the world had waited for. Mandela prepared for his final walk as a prisoner. He knew that the moment he stepped through those gates, the mastermind would have to become a savior.
As he walked through the gates, the roar of the crowd was deafening. After 27 years, 6 months, and 6 days, the prisoner of cell 466064 was free. But the mastermind knew the real work was just beginning.
I stand before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. His voice, deep and authoritative, echoed across the square. The secret language of freedom was now a manifesto for a new nation. But freedom brought its own dangers. The country was spiraling into violence. The mastermind had to use all his skills to keep the peace. He had to convince a wounded people to choose reconciliation over revenge. He sat with the men who had imprisoned him. He looked them in the eye and spoke of a shared future. The mastermind understood that to free his people, he also had to free his oppressors from their fear. In 1993, the world recognized their efforts. The Nobel Peace Prize was a testament to the power of dialogue over daggers. The mastermind's secret language had become the global gold standard for peace.
April 27, 1994. The first democratic election. The mastermind stood in line like everyone else. The secret language of the quarry was now the ink on the ballot paper.
Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. With those words, the prisoner of cell 466/64 became the president of South Africa.
In 1995, he used a game to heal a nation. By wearing the jersey of the team that was once a symbol of apartheid,
He established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. He knew that for the wounds to heal, the secrets had to be told. The mastermind didn't want a trial. He wanted a confession. He wanted the truth to set the whole nation free.
After one term, he stepped down. He showed the world that a true leader knows when to let go. The mastermind retired to his village, Kunu, but his voice remained the moral compass of the world.
In his final years, the mastermind returned to the silence he had first encountered in cell 466/64. But this time, it was the silence of peace, not of a prison. December 5th, 2013. The mastermind breathed his last. The world wept, but it also celebrated. The man was gone, but the language he had created, the secret language of freedom, was now the heritage of humanity. Today, cell 466/64 stands empty. It is a shrine to the power of the human spirit. It serves as a reminder that no wall is thick enough and no chain is strong enough to imprison a mind that refuses to be broken. The mastermind's greatest achievement wasn't his own freedom, but the freedom he built for others. He taught us that even in the darkest hole, we can find a way to speak to the world. We just have to find the right language. The secret language of freedom is no longer a secret. It is spoken every time someone stands up for justice, every time an enemy becomes a friend, and every time a prisoner refuses to forget their name. Nelson Mandela, the mastermind of the human spirit.